Hi there. This video is going to be long, but if you want to understand critical aspects of internal control that every student of advanced audit and assurance needs to understand to pass their exams, then you are in for it. And I'm in here now for you. We are going to look at control environment. We are going to talk about risk assessment, control activity, internal audits, physical control, IT control, segregation of duty. We are going to look at compliance with law and order. We are going to look at information and communication. We are going to look at monitoring activity and a host of other things that internal control systems actually entail. Are you ready? Let's go. So, what is internal control? I'm not going to spend much time on this. The whole system of control, whether financial, whether otherwise, in form of management control, in form of physical control, in form of logical control, anything you can think of, they will fall under system of internal control. Having said that, let us talk about control environment as we pick the line items one after the other. Now, as much as I will not want to exaggerate, it is important for me to let you know that the aspect of control environment is as important as possible, having capacity to destroy every other control work that any organization could have done. Having established that, what is then control environment? Control environment is the totality of what an organization believe and do about internal control. Let me put it down so that we can see it. Control, pardon my environment, is the totality of governance behavior of an organization, be it in form of the body language of the board of directors or the management personnel and everybody within the organization, particularly those of the management staff and at the end of affairs. If they are override in control, then control environment will be weak. And as a student, especially if you have a topic of internal control, like internal control in your case study, or it comes out as a case study, you need to be able to look for things like this, that the control environment, is it really weak or is it really strong? Looking for the body language of the environment. And when we are talking about the environment now, we are talking about the management staff, we are talking about the way of doing things in the organization. If they believe strongly in ensuring that policies, procedures are followed, then we'll say that internal control environment is strong. Otherwise, it becomes weak. I hope we understand that. Then, if its control environment is weak, then an auditor will need to do more work. And if it's strong, then there may be less work to be done. That will not justify not doing anything at all, right? So that is about control environment. Then let us look at the aspect of risk assessment in internal control system. It is important that the risk assessment is conducted by knowledgeable officer. When we are talking about risk assessment, it is important to understand that the aspect of risk monitoring, risk Governance is critical for the survival of any organization, and it begins with risk identification. You could have a question like this. You need to know and work on risk identification. You must be able to identify risk in the questions given, the area of risk given. Let's say, for example, an organization is selling goods and is collecting cash. An identified area of risk is cash theft. So now we are talking about risk assessment. You need to be able to identify your risk, and then we now talk about how to assess and how to control, how to mitigate it. So that is the aspect of risk assessment. Risk must be identified, risk must be mitigated. Now, when we are talking about mitigating risk, it's either we own it completely, that is, we accept it if it's within acceptable threshold, or we transfer it in form of insurance. Okay, then we need to talk about control activity.